Hey y'all, this is Baby Doll Soaps and Things. I'm back at it with some interesting topics, but let me start off with this one that's really been aching away at me. As you know, on my channel, I collect dolls mostly, so most of what I do is doll content. This week in my group was it All Dolls Welcome, which is ran by famous In Love with Reborn Stephanie Ortiz, In Love with Reborn's 2011. She decided to this week, she's a reborn artist, made beautiful dolls, sold many beautiful dolls. Her and her wife Jackie make beautiful dolls. Jackie seems like she specializes more with the ethnic dolls, African American or non-Caucasian like dolls, as to Stephanie has worked more with Caucasian dolls, but now is branching out to do dolls of color. So she put in, I don't know what sculpt this doll is, but she was a beautiful doll, very deep in skin tone, the deepest shade of chocolate. Of course, most of my dolls that I collect are black dolls. So even though I have dolls of other races, but I do have chocolate color dolls, but to the hue that Stephanie painted, this little doll is, I want to say, without offending people, she's about maybe almost this color. She's a deep, or pretty better yet, what I would compare her to, very deep, dark, special dark chocolate. Well, anyway, while Stephanie was getting a lot of praise and a lot of positive remarks about the baby, an African American woman by the name of Cynthia Hollis apparently had a different opinion. She didn't seem to like the doll. She didn't seem to take kindly to the doll. So she decided to send Stephanie a long-winded email about how the doll is offensive. I'm black. I don't look like that. Yada. And pretty much Stephanie said, if you don't like my doll, you could have kept your comment to yourself. And it's a shame that you feel you don't know anything outside of your culture. But there are people of other cultures that are this dark. And that's true. In a lot of Polynesian islands, you'll say Micronesia, Melanesia. Come on, the word in itself, Melanesia, melanin. Very dark complected people, like that baby that Stephanie painted. You go to Tonga, you go to Fiji, you go to Australia, where the Aborigines people are very dark complected, or some people say Samoa. A lot of people say Samoa, but it's really called Samoa. A lot of them are very dark skinned to the point of how Stephanie painted that baby. But she was a beautiful baby. If I had the money, I would have bought her, because I want a doll that dark or that hue, or darker dolls. That was the reason why I tried to reborn with my Peaches years ago. As you guys saw, that was a total fuck. Because at first I was going to start off making the doll racially ambiguous because she was already a white doll. But because I painted so heavily, I made her darker. And I said, you know what? Maybe her being chocolate would suit her. But the paint kept bleeding. I was new. I didn't wash the kit or anything like that. So I ended up sending her to a lady by the name of Tequila Love to help me, because a sis was struggling. I was just struggling. Eventually I'll get my quest for going back and trying to reborn again, and trying to next time I'll just have to wash the kit and just take my time with the brush strokes. But other than that, she was a very beautiful chocolate doll. And not only that, you know, what that lady Cynthia Hollis failed to realize, well, I'm black, I don't look like that. Well, guess what? You're black, you don't look like that. But somebody black does look like that. There are very dark-skinned black people in the African American community, in the Black American community, in the Caribbean, in Africa, countries like Somalia, like Kenya, like Sudan. For example, Alek Wek is as dark as that doll. And look at her, supermodel. Who doesn't know who Alek Wek is? Lupita Nyong'o is about almost as chocolate as that doll. As deep shade of chocolate as this lady painted that baby. That model that was years ago discovered at was it Howard University, was very chocolate like that, just beautiful. Looked like baby girl came straight from the earth, the soil. This was how rich and dark her skin was, and it had a glow to it. And I want to say with Cynthia Hollis, Cynthia Hollis to me sounds like one of these black people out here. And this is why I'm going to constantly keep doing segments on colorism, because it's a shame that you as a black woman to open your mouth and say that, knowing that black people come in a variation of colors from being the darkest to the lightest hue. And for you to come and accuse this woman of being racist or making a mockery of black people, this shows to me that you're not educated. Or maybe you just don't care, or maybe you yourself are colorist. Okay? Because I'm gonna tell you something. My father was dark like that. Was dark as that baby. And I know my father struggled a lot in his life with his complexion, had a lot of insecurities about his complexion, but my mother's brown skin. My mom and I are about maybe the same shade, but his second wife, who he's currently married to, my brother's mother, is a dark-skinned woman. But my father now, if you look at him, he's not as dark as he was when I was a kid. He went from being that deep dark chocolate, which the baby doll was, to, I want to say, maybe the color of mahogany, maybe the color of a Hershey's Kiss. But he's still a dark-skinned man, but not as deep. What they call it, black. What was it my friend Kelvin used to say back then? Nat King Cole, black with shine. He would say you're black without shine or black with shine, meaning you're ashy or you are black with that little glow to your skin, which is what he would say, black with shine. But my great uncle, Ulrich, we call him Uncle Rick, he lives in New York, was that dark too. This is on my mom's side of family. Great grandmother was very dark herself. And my grandmother was her lightest child. My grandmother and my older great uncle were her lightest children. And then my great uncles after them, Uncle Ulrich, or Uncle Rick as we call him, Uncle Pete, were the darkest. And I remember my grandmother told me many times she used to crack jokes on Uncle Rick and Uncle Pete for being dark, because she would brag about her complexion. I'm sapodillo brown, and if you know what sapodillo is, you would know that. If you know what a sapodillo looks like or the color of a sapodillo, that was my grandmother. She bragged about being, I'm sapodillo brown, and I think my great grandmother, as big as, because she had a bear claw for her hand, slapped the shit out of her, told her, you don't make fun of your brother's complexion. We don't do that. And you dummy, we eat sapodillo. What are you talking about? You know, I think even my grandmother had her colorist ways too, making fun of somebody that dark and all that other stuff. And I'm gonna call myself out. I used to say some jacked up stuff like that when I was angry. My darker counterparts and all that stuff. My hands are not clean in this business either. So I'm even calling my own stupid ass self out because you're ridiculous. This is the reason why what I want to say to Cynthia Hollis is, lady, if you didn't like the doll, you didn't have to say nothing. You didn't have to say shit. You could have just went on with your business. And what's her name? Sugar Honey Iced Tea, because I saw she commented about that too. And this is a white lady that called you out, stating seriously that you have an issue with yourself. And there's a lot of black people like you in the community that don't like who you are. You don't like who you are. You don't like that. You don't like anything about your blackness because you look at your blackness as a curse when it's a gift and when it's a beauty. You saying you don't look like that, that's cool. No, you don't look like that, and guess what? I'm not that dark either, but I'm not that fair either. But guess what? There are plenty of black people out here that look like that. And for you to take offense over a damn doll, lady, your issues are deeper than what they are. They're much deeper than it, okay? You just don't like dark-skinned people, and maybe you are around a bunch of colorist ass people in your family, and maybe that's what shaped your narrative to have such a ugly and distorted view about people darker than you. Like this baby, I guess she's almost that chair, almost the color of the chair, almost. And I think that bothers you. I think that bothers you at all. But guess what? You go to certain countries in Africa, like the Maasai people about as black as this chair and got the pearliest white teeth. But see, you would think that's ugly. And that tells me that you don't have enough education and enough experience for you to get upset like that. Because I've given a variety of examples of people that look like that. There are people in India that look like that baby, that are dark like that. I remember years ago, I had a cabbie when I was coming home from work. I worked at Metro Access. This is when I didn't have a car. And we were talking about the caste system and all that in India. And he told me, and this is a lighter Indian, he said, you do realize the average Indian is a lot darker than you, right? More darker than you, as he said. I said, okay. You see, the issue with Indians, Black people, where they have this anti-Blackness. And then the funny thing is, I don't know why they're anti-Black, because I've ran into a lot of Indians that don't look no damn different than me. You don't look no damn different than me, but you looking down on me. And there ain't no difference between our skin color. And again, I can speak about that from a Caribbean experience, because my mother dealt with that kind of racism in her country from them and how they act. I've ran into that here. But this young lady, Cynthia Hollis, I don't know if she's young, whatever she is, but I hope she does see this video. And I hope seriously that she broadens her horizons. You don't like nothing, you could have just scrolled past the set now. Because that's a beautiful doll. But I bet you if she was to make that doll the hue of Mariah Carey, or Rihanna, or Beyonce, you would have had that smoke. Because that's the problem. Excuse me. The problem is that that doll was too dark for you. And that doll, I don't know, maybe that doll signifies something personal with you that you don't like with yourself. I don't know. You one of these people and one of these family members, I can imagine, Cynthia Hollis, where you would probably go out here saying, if you see a dark-skinned girl in your family, oh, you cute for a little dark-skinned girl. And oh, I didn't mean it that way. What do you mean you didn't mean it that way? Cute for a dark-skinned girl? You seem like somebody who would say some crap like that. And you seem like the kind of person, this is the reason why this colorism stuff, I'm going to keep talking about. I'm going to keep talking about it and keep bringing it to attention because, well, it needs to be brought to attention. Your colorism and your disdain for your own Blackness is sad. I don't know what you look like, but you claim you don't look like that doll. So I don't know, maybe you're a lighter skinned Black woman, and hell, maybe you're not. Maybe you're about my complexion. Maybe you're a little lighter, maybe you're darker, I don't know, but you sound to me, dear, that you have issues. You have issues with yourself. Okay, I remember when I said a couple years back when I started working where I currently am, and I was looking into the business of, becoming a reborn artist and wanting to paint, ethnic dolls. And I remember I was looking at a Black baby on one of my Facebook groups. And my coworker came past me, and my coworker is dark skinned too, is a deep toned sister too. Oh, that baby black as shit. I looked at her like the damn baby looked like it could be yours. Like, what do you mean the baby's black as shit? Like, what's wrong with the baby being so deep in his or her hue? Like, what's the problem? And I've noticed that from a lot of some of the dark skinned people I've ran across, that they hate on other dark skinned people or don't want to have dark-skinned babies because they're afraid of that. And I don't know, Miss Hollis, you kind of remind me of them kind of folks. You remind me of somebody seriously that don't like who you are. Okay? I think seriously what you need to do, you need to get some therapy for that. You need to unpack that about yourself. You need to unpack that because self-hate and colorism is real. Okay? It's not just only a thing in the Black community. It's a thing in a lot of ethnic and marginalized communities. In the Latino community, in the Asian community. Okay? People come up with this narrative that just having fairer skin and looking more Western is the way. And I feel, to me, honestly, ma'am, that you are, I don't know. You need to seriously take a look at yourself. And I don't think you see beauty in yourself. So if you don't see beauty in your own Blackness, how could you see it in somebody else's? But I think Stephanie did a wonderful job with that doll. And then you were very negative and nasty. Good luck with your black doll selling. Well, somebody bought the doll, ma'am. I want to say that doll is a Laura sculpt by Bonnie Brown, but I could be wrong. But somebody bought that doll. Somebody found the beauty in that doll and bought it. So what you were trying to speak your negativity and your self-hate and your self-disgust, somebody saw the beauty in that doll and took it, bought it, and it's in their collection because that's a beautiful doll. And if I had the money, I would buy a doll like that. But right now, what I need to do is sell whatever dolls that I got and just clean out that mess that I have so I can make some money. But Miss Hollis, what I need you to do is really get educated. And if you claim you're a so-called educated woman and you claim you're this and that, you wouldn't have made the comments that you made. You wouldn't have made the self-hate comments like that. I think what the problem is that dark skin disgusts you, it bothers you, and it annoys you. And if you're a black woman, then you would know that black people come in a spectrum of colors. Okay? We come from the darkest of the darkest to the lightest of the lightest. There are black people around here that are black like that doll, black purple, black blue, black brown. They chocolate, they're mocha, they're mahogany, they're latte, they're cafe au lait. Hell, they're damn vanilla. But you are that kind of person that, just to be honest with me, I don't know, maybe you were taught that there was one form of beauty. And I don't know, maybe you're triggered because Stephanie's a white woman painting a baby like that. But guess what? There are all kind of reborn artists, white reborn artists, that have made ethnic dolls or made dolls who are African American. What's the problem? How do black people look anyway? Black people look all kinds of way. I can tell you one thing. I had a great grandfather that looked like a damn white man. He was from Barbados. This was my mother's grandfather. He looked as white as can be, but was a black man. And come to find out, my grandmother told me that he was mixed with Spanish and Portuguese descent, which is what attribute to his very fair looking features. But that's the thing. Black people, we look anyway. We matriculate everywhere. We look anyway. And it's a shame that a lot of people like yourself don't understand that or don't want to grasp that narrative that we look all kinds of ways. And I think seriously what you need to do before you attack somebody is you need to educate yourself before you just accuse somebody of being racist. Okay? I think you have a serious issue with yourself. Maybe you were told you weren't pretty growing up because you were this hue, or you're this hue, you should act this way. I don't know the story with you, but you sound to me like you're very troubled. And you need to get right with that, okay? That's my 2 cents. Baby Doll Soaps and Things signing off. Ciao, Bella.